Hello and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD and this is the Lair. Today we're unboxing a box of 10 Pokemon cards I sent to PSA. I got them back in this box, professionally packaged, nice and safe and sound. Let's get them out of this box and let's get them, see what grades we got. Alright, let's go. Here's a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Alakazam, a Holo first edition card, the number 1 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see the holographics are really clean. There's no creases or bends or scratches. The centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. Our left to right centering, I think, is really close to the spec. Our corners and our edges look really clean. I don't see any damage on them that'll affect a grade. As we take a gander at the back of the card, you can see our surface is clean of creases and bends. There's no dirt or grime on the card, on the graphics. Our centering from left to right looks really close to the tolerance. Our top to bottom centering, I think, is slightly towards the top. Our corners and our edges look really clean. There might be a small speck of damage on that upper left corner, but I don't think it would affect the grade that much. And we're going to get a grade of Mint 9. I like it. I think it was the centering that took that grade to a 9. Check out this 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Weezing, a Holo first edition, the number 14 card of the set. Looking at our front surface, there's no creases or bends. Looking at our holographics, there's no scratches or any damage on it. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think that's pretty close to the tolerance. And our left to right centering looks maybe a little bit towards the left. Our corners and our edges look really clean. I don't see any damage on them. As we take a gander at the back of the card, you can see that the centering from left to right is slightly towards the right. Our centering from top to bottom might be slightly towards the top. Our corners and our edges look really clean and crisp. There's no damage on them. Our surface looks really clean. I don't see any damage to the graphics or any creases or bends. And that's going to give us a grade of Mint 9. Wow, that's pretty darn good. You are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Weezing, a Holo first edition, the number 14 card. Looking at the front surface of the card, there's no issues on the holographics. There's no scratches or any damage there. Our surface has no scratches or creases or bends. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it looks slightly towards the top, and our left to right centering, I think, is towards the right. Looking at our corners and edges, I see no damage on them. Taking a look at the back of the card, the surface is free of creases or bends or any damage. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is pretty close to the tolerance. Our left to right centering is towards the left. And our corners and our edges look pretty darn clean. And then we're going to get a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty good. Our centering was off and that took us to a 9. Here is a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket. Here comes Team Rocket, a first edition Holo trainer card, the number 15 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see there's no creases or bends on the surface. There's no scratches or damage to the holographics. Our centering from top to bottom looks pretty close to the tolerance, and our left right centering, I think, again, is within tolerance. Our corners and edges look really crisp and clean. As we turn this card over and look at the back, our surface is free of creases or bends or any dirt or grime or damage. Our centering from left to right, I think, is really close to the tolerance. Our top to bottom centering, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, they're pretty darn clean. This might be a really good card. And we're going to get a grade of Jim Mint 10. That's awesome. Love it. Let me show you this 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket. Here comes Team Rocket First Edition Holographic Trainer card, the number 15 of the set. Looking at the front of this card, our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think, is all within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, they're very clean with no damage. Once we get to our surface and our graphics are really clean, but there is a problem on the surface. There is a short crease across the lower border, about 1/3 of the way from that right lower corner. Flipping the card over, we'll continue with our surface of the card. The graphics look really clean, but we do have that little crease or bend about 1/3 of the way now from the left lower corner. Our corners and our edges, though, look really clean. They're centering from top to bottom and left to right. I think that's all within tolerance. I think this would have been a good card without that little crease. And that's going to get us a grade of excellent 5. Wow, that little crease really hurt. Let's take a look at this 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Sneak Attack, a Holo First Edition Trainer card, the number 16 of the set. Looking at the front of this card, there's no scratches or creases or bends on the surface of this card. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top, and our left to right centering looks a little bit towards the right. Our corners and our edges look very clean. I don't see any damage on them. Flipping the card over to the back, our surface is very clean. There's no creases or bends or any problems on the graphics. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it looks slightly towards the top, and left to right centering might be slightly towards the left. Looking at our corners and our edges, the lower left corner and possibly the upper left corner has some damage. And we'll get a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty darn good for that trainer. We have a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Alakazam, a first edition, the number 18 card of the set. Looking at the card, the front graphics are crisp and clean. There's no creases or bends on the surface of the card. Our centering from top to bottom looks slightly towards the top. And left to right centering, I think, is slightly towards the right, but might be within the tolerance. Our corners and edges look really clean with no damage. As we take a look at the back of the card, our centering from left to right is definitely towards the left. Centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. And looking at our surface, it's very clean. There's no damage to the graphics or the card itself, no creases or bends. Looking at our corners on our edges, both upper corners and the lower left corner have some slight damage. And we're going to get a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty darn good for that old Dark Alakazam. You're looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Charizard, a first edition, the number 21st card of the set. Looking at the front graphics of this card, they're really bright. I don't see any damage or creases or bends on the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right looks pretty darn close to tolerance. Our top to bottom centering, I think, is slightly towards the top. Our corners and our edges look really clean. I don't see any damage on them that'll affect a grade. As we look at the back of the card, you can see that our surface is clean and free of any creases, bends, or dirt or damage. Our centering from top to bottom is definitely towards the top. And the left to right centering, I think, is within the tolerance. Our corners and our edges look really good on this card. And we're going to get a grade of Mint 9. I like that for Dark Charizard, a 9. Like it a lot. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Dugtrio, a Holo first edition, the number 6 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, the surface shows no creases or bends. Looking at our holographics, so there is a scratch about half an inch long or so under the HP on the holographics. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think, is all within the tolerance. Our corners on our edges look really clean. I don't see any damage there. As we look at the back of the card, I can see that our centering looks really good from top to bottom and left to right. I think that's probably going to all be within tolerance. Looking at our corners on our edges, they look really clean. Our surface shows no scratches, damage, bends, or creases. And we're going to get a grade of near Mint 8. Wow, that scratch sort of hurt us. You're looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Golbat, a Holo first edition, the number 7 card of this set. Looking at the front surface of this card, I don't see any damage to the holographics or the surface of the card. There's no creases or bends. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, might be slightly towards the top. Side to side, our centering looks a little towards the right. Our corners on our edges look really clean and crisp with no damage. We always look at the back of the card, and as we do, you can see that our surface is very clean. There's no creases or bends on the surface. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is towards the top. Our centering from left to right, I think, is slightly towards the right. Looking at our corners on our edges, there's some slight damage on both right corners and the lower left corner, but the rest of it looks pretty good. And we'll receive a grade of near Mint 8. Wow, that should have been at least a 9, I think. I don't see why it was down to an 8. Oh well. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the cards I presented. Please like and subscribe, and remember, you gotta catch them all. Have a great afternoon.